In this video, I'm going to show you the one pattern that's keeping your contracting business stuck at the same revenue year after year. Without any fluff or motivational nonsense, so you can finally break the cycle, scale past where you are, and feel like you're actually building the business you keep telling your wife you're building. My name is Stash. I'm the founder of S&C Digital. I help contractors doing $500,000 plus a year scale to 2 to 3 million or more and beyond with real systems, not just leads and prayers and hoping things are going to work out. If you want to build a real contracting business that runs without you being on every job site 70 hours a week without the feast or famine roller coaster, subscribe to the channel, like the page, however you're watching this, and then let's get into this. Most contractors believe that the smart business owners don't make big decisions on the spot. That you should go home, sleep on it, think it through, run the numbers, talk to your wife, and then decide. That being slow and careful, somehow being responsible. And to an extent, I get it. It makes total sense because you've probably been burned before. Some company promised you leads and didn't deliver. You spent $5,000 on marketing and got nothing. You've heard this will change your business from 3 different people in 3 different hours, and it never did. So now your guard's up, and let me think about it feels like the safe play for you. But here's the problem with that belief. 1, it just kills your business growth. Done. Dead. Every opportunity that requires a decision gets delayed. Hiring, firing, investing, raising prices, saying no to bad jobs, saying yes to good ones. Everything gets pushed to next week, and next week never comes. Nothing changes because nothing gets decided. It's a disease. 2, it's the same pattern showing up everywhere. I need to think about it isn't just what you say on a sales call. It's what you said before you didn't fire that guy who shows up late 3 days a week, before you didn't raise your prices last year, before you let that $40,000 estimate sit in your truck for a week before you sent it and lost the job. It's the same avoidance running through your entire business. 3, it doesn't lead to a better decision. It just leads to no decision. You go home, life gets busy, you're back on jobs the next morning, and within 48 hours, you forgot why you even considered making a change. Not because you didn't want it, because the discomfort of deciding felt worse than the discomfort of staying stuck, which leads to another year at the same revenue, the same stress, the same roller coaster that you're in right now, and that deep, quiet feeling of knowing you had a chance and you let it pass. Does that sound familiar? That's because this belief isn't protecting you, it's the thing keeping you stuck. But there is a better way. The truth is, the ability to make decisions fast, right now, and when it counts is the single most important skill that separates contractors who stay stuck from contractors who scale. I need to think about it isn't being careful. It's the exact pattern that's keeping you behind that saw on that job site, stuck in the same number, missing your kid's life, paying yourself pennies on the dollar. The guys winning in this business don't make better decisions because they think longer. They make better decisions because they make them faster. They assess, they commit, they correct. That's the whole game. Now, let me prove it to you in 5 different ways so this never leaves your head. Think about this. When a homeowner calls you for an estimate, you show up, you walk the job, and you give them the number. And then what do they say to you? Let me think about it. Let me get a few more quotes. Let me talk to my spouse. And what do you think when they say that? You probably think, I just lost that job. Or you probably think, this guy's a tire kicker. He never wanted my business. He's not serious, right? He's a bad lead. Because you know when a homeowner says, let me think about it, they're just not sold. They're probably going to get a cheaper quote and you're never hearing from them again. You know the customers who say yes on the spot are the best customers you've ever had. They trust the process, they can see the value, and they commit. The ones who need to think about it end up going with the cheapest guy, getting a terrible result, and then probably calling you or your competitor 6 months later to fix it for more money. Or they just vanish and you never hear from them again. Look, you already know this. You live this life every single week. It's the most frustrating part of your job. So here's the question. If you know that I need to think about it is a red flag when your customers say it to you, why is it smart when you say it to someone else? Same pattern, same psychology, same outcome. You're just on the other side of it now. And you're about to do the exact thing that costs you $10, $20, $30, $40,000 jobs. Look, sit with that a second. Now, let's be real about something else. You already know how to make big decisions. You've probably been doing this your whole life. When you decided to start your business, did you sleep on it for 6 months? Or did you hit a point where you said, I'm doing this, and then you went, you launched, you did the thing? When you bought that truck or trailer or that $50,000 skid steer, did you go home and think about it for 2 weeks? Or did you see what you needed, do the math in your head, and pull the trigger because it made sense to you? When you asked your wife to marry you, did you say, let me sleep on it? No, you didn't. No, she wouldn't have married you, right? Every major thing in your your life that turned out great started with a decision that scared you. You didn't think your way into a good marriage, a business, a crew, or a trade. You decided, then you figured it out. So the guy who bought a $50,000 piece of equipment without a single job lined up had more guts than the guy telling me he needs to sleep on $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 a month that fills the calendar to use that equipment. You already know how to do this. This is the decision that fixes everything else. Let me tell you a quick story. Two farmers watched their crops die during a drought. Both heard about a well digger in the next town who could solve it. Both had the money. The first farmer said, "Let me think about it. Maybe the rain will come soon." So he waited and he watched his fields die, one row at a time. By the time it rained, the season was over. Crops were gone, his opportunity dead. The second farmer said, "Look, I don't love the cost, but I can't afford to lose another crop." He hired the well digger that day. 3 weeks later, the well was finished, and for the rest of the season, while every other farmer prayed for rain, his fields were green. Same drought, same opportunity, same fear. One guy decided, the other guy thought about. Which farmer are you right now? Because the drought in your business, the slow months, the dead phone, the feast or famine isn't going to fix itself. Next year will be different, only works if you do something different this year. And this isn't just stories, there's tons and tons of data behind this. Harvard Business Review studied over 1,000 business owners. The ones who made decisions quickly, even when they weren't 100% sure, outperformed slow decision makers by nearly 3 times in revenue growth over 5 years. Not because the decisions were always right, but because speed gave them more time to correct, more time to compound, and more advantage in their market. And here's the kicker. People who say, "Let me think about it," and leave the conversation have less than a 6% chance of actually making the decision later. Less than 6 out of 100 actually take the action. That means 94% of the time, "Let me think about it" doesn't mean I'll decide later. It means I've already decided no, I just can't say it out loud because I don't want to take responsibility for my decision. And the few who do come back, they all say the same thing. "I wish I just done it the first time." Most people think "I need to think about it" is the safe play. But what if the opposite is true? What if thinking about it is actually the most expensive decision you make every year, every day? Because every month you think about it is another month at paying yourself pennies on the dollar at $900,000 in revenue, $1 million in revenue, whatever you might be doing. Another month of covering payroll out of your own pocket. Another month your wife watches you come home stressed, exhausted, and distant. Another month your competitor whose work probably isn't as good as yours, and you know it, books more jobs because he just build a system that you keep putting off because you're too damn scared. The cost isn't a few $1,000s a month. The cost is everything you're losing while you sit on it. That's the real math and nobody does. Look, I'll tell you something that I don't share a lot. I learned business the same way most of you do, by getting my ass kicked and figuring it out. Let me think about it. I don't want to do this yet. It's too expensive. I felt that fear. I told myself I was being smart, being responsible. Can't risk it. But it was fear wearing a mask of responsibility. I was scared to commit because I'd been burned before too. Things didn't work out. Paid lots of money to things that just didn't pan out for me. And then nothing changed for years. Look, and then one day I just decided this is it, man. I gotta do this. I have to invest in my business, my future, my success, my family, my wife. And I made a decision that day. And it led to everything. Over 10 years in business, building S&C, watching guys transform their businesses because they did the same thing. They actually decided. We helped them make a decision to better themselves. Ben was doing $1 million a year. Sounds great, right? Except he just couldn't close. No sales process. His entire pipeline was referrals and hope. He show up, measure the job, send an estimate 3 days later, and sit around wondering why no one called him back. When Ben got on the call with us, he made a decision right there. He didn't say, "Let me think about it." He said, and this is his exact words, "I can't keep hoping work comes in. There's no way to get to $2 or $3 million a year without a system. Let's do this." Was it scary? I'm sure it was. He'd been burned by other agencies. He said himself. He said, "Some agencies gave us more leads than you guys do, but they didn't close the loop. The conversion was horrible." But Ben decided, and then he was coachable. When we told him to do on-the-spot bidding with an iPad, he did it. He closed one job that started at $60,000 and grew to almost $200,000 because the homeowner was impressed. He gave 3 options on the spot. 12 months later, $1 million stuck to well over $2 million and growing. His words, "I'm building a monster." Ben didn't just get those results because he's smarter than you or he's better than you. He got them because when the moment came, he made the decision, he followed through, and he was coachable. Pasquale started a brand new contracting business. 0 revenue, 0 systems, 0 leads, nothing. First month with us, 35 estimates on his count. Year 1, $900,000 in revenue. He comes to our team for every major business decision now, and we walk him through it. Tracy launched Two Brothers Remodeling and closed $450,000 in jobs in his first 60 days. All from our system. Not referrals, not word of mouth, a system he decided to invest in before he even had a single completed job. These guys didn't think about it. They saw the opportunity, they made the call, and they did. Look, we've tracked every contractor through our process over the last 18 months. Contractors who decided in the first call hit their first $100,000 in closed jobs, an average of 47 days faster than the guys who thought about it and came back later. 47 days. That's a month and a half of revenue and momentum. And every contractor who said, I need to think about it, and left the call and then probably ghosted, only about 6% ever came back. The other 94% gone, not because they found something better, because they just didn't do anything. Life took over, the urgency faded, the pain just became normal and something that they're okay with again. 6 months to a year later, they usually pop back up in our pipeline, submit through the same ads. They're in the same spot or worse, same revenue or worse, same stress or more, except now they're a year older and a year more frustrated. The 6% who came back, every single one says, I just wish I did this the first time. So look, if you want to break the feast or famine cycle, get your calendar packed with qualified estimates, close at 35% or higher, and actually build the business you keep telling your wife or telling yourself you're building, without spending another year figuring it out on your own, here's what to do next. 1, subscribe to the channel. This is free. I put out content specifically for contractors who want to scale. Not generic business advice, real stuff from someone who grew up in the trades and has spent 10 years in your world. 2, if this video hit home and you're sitting there thinking, that's me, go to the link in the description, book a call with our team. We'll look at your business, your numbers, your goals, and tell you honestly if we can help. If it's not a fit, we're going to tell you that too. We don't want to take on people who won't win with us. No pressure, no games, but I will ask you to make a decision on that call because that's the whole point. 3, drop a comment below. Tell me what's a decision you've been putting off in your business. We read every one of these, and sometimes just typing it out is the first step to actually doing something about it. Look, you're one decision away from the business you keep promising yourself you want. You're only one right choice away from the life that you actually want. And you can keep procrastinating. You can keep putting it off. You can keep not taking responsibility for your decisions, because that's what it is when you think about it. You just don't want to make the wrong decision. You don't want to take responsibility for your actions. When you say, I need to talk to my wife about it, and if you actually do, then now it's her responsibility, right? If she says yes and it fails, her fault. If she says no and your business fails, her fault. You need to take responsibility for your own business, your own life, your family's outcome, their future, their trajectory. So I'm going to challenge you to do one thing today where you just take responsibility. You don't shirk it, you don't put it off, you don't procrastinate, you don't think about it. Just one thing. Pick one thing, and sometimes you start small and it'll trickle over. Discipline trickles. You do one right thing. That's why in the military, the first thing they start with is you make your bed every day. One right action compounds in your life. Take one right step today. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you in the next one.